right, it's me again. We're continuing the law of demand and plugging and chugging and looking and constructing a demand curve. And today, our goal is we're going to understand why a demand curve is downward slope and why the negative or inverse slope, why the opposite relationship between price and quantity demanded, and once we constructed a curve and seeing that it is again downward sloping. Okay. There's 3 reasons in any textbook's going to tell you that a demand curve slopes downward. There's an income effect, a substitution effect, and something called diminishing marginal utility. So let's repeat that. Let's rephrase it. You ready to go? There's an income effect, there's a substitution effect, and there's such a thing called diminishing marginal utility. And I'll leave it to the Econ Avenger to hammer that into your skulls, so your thick skulls, so you're going to be able to ace this quiz when they're going to ask you any questions on this. All right. So let's take a look. What is the income effect? So remember we were talking about the law of demand. Whenever the price goes up of anything, you have a tendency of purchasing less in quantity. And whenever the price goes down of anything, you have a tendency, if you're normal, to purchase more in quantity. Well, there's certain cases now when a price goes up. You ever been to a store and you're ready to go and buy something, you're all happy and fired up to go get it, and all of a sudden, those bozos from the business raise the price on you. You're like, oh, what the hell is going on here, man? So you bought less. You're kind of stuck, but you bought less in quantity. But also goes the opposite way. You come to the store, you're ready to go and buy something, and funny thing happens. The thing's on sale. You're like, damn, hell yeah. And you buy more of that because you feel richer. So the key thing is the income effect, and how it applies to the law of demand is when the price goes up of anything, you tend to feel poor. You got less money, you got less spending cash around. So you got to compensate by buying less of that particular good. Whenever they lower the price of something you were ready to buy, you feel richer on the other hand. So you got more money to spend. So in the case of Econ Avenger mask, and all these kids that are out there, so if I decided I am going to lower my price from, let's say, 50 to 40, I might get some people who, population might buy 10 more because they were going to buy some at 50, but they say, hell yeah, I might get an extra mask. It's cool. I'll get one for my nephew or something, okay? So yeah, you got some free spending money. All right, the substitution effect. What that is when you're comparing whatever demand curve this is for something, and I got to make sure that you know you want to label this as D. D, I don't think that I did that the last time. Damn it. Yeah, D, that's your demand curve. Remember that. Oh, Econ Avenger every once in a while forgets big things. But let's just say you have a demand for whatever product it is here, and you have other options that are basically substitutes. So if it's a demand curve for Coke, I also have to take into consideration Pepsi or RC if people actually drink that out there. If it's Gatorade, it's Powerade. If it's a curve for Nike, you have to consider Adidas if people assume that there's substitutes for those goods in question there, okay? So let's just say my rival, well, I don't even have any rival. If you dig deeper into class, I'm a monopoly when it comes to my stuff, the Econ Avenger. As far as I know, I'm the only masked econ tutor that's out there on video, okay? Well, let's use another example. Let's just say, for instance, that when one price of the product in turn stays the same, if the other product increases or decreases their price, that can affect you if you think about it. So let's just say that this is for Pepsi and vice versa. So let's say this is for Coke. All right, if you like Coke and Pepsi, if you lower the price of the Coke, your quantity demanded should increase as compared to Pepsi because you lowered your price, the other competing products kept their products the same. So you substituted more for that product. If this is the demand for Nikes, and they decided they're going to have a big sale at their store or whatever it is, wherever they're selling Nike products at, they lower the price, you assume that people are going to buy more of those in quantity because the other competing products kept their prices the same. Now that also works the opposite way. If you decide that you're going to raise your price, don't be surprised you see your quantity demanded decrease because people are going to buy less of your stuff because other products' prices were the same. They're going to substitute more of theirs now for yours, and you're going to have less compared to theirs. All right? Makes sense? That's the substitution effect. Let's go into the third. Let's dissect this word here. Diminishing marginal utility. Diminishing means decreasing. Marginal is a big economics word you're going to have to remember. Marginal always means additional or extra, okay? Marginal, additional, or extra. And then utility is another economics word. It's not what you pay in your bills. It's not your heating bill or your air conditioning bill or for all your smartphone plans all you kids got out there. No, a utility bill, not a utility bill, but utility means usefulness. Usefulness or satisfaction. So, diminishing, decreasing, marginal, additional, satisfaction. What does that have to do with the demand curve? Well, it's a lot. And it gets pretty deep and psychological if you really think about it. Okay, so let's just say that we decided we're going to have more. We're going to consume more of any good. Do you really have a lot of use for a lot more of any good? For you to buy just, let's say, 200 rolls of toilet paper, you only use one roll of toilet paper at a time. What diminishing marginal utility says is that when you get this way to the axis, the less amounts that you're actually consuming, you tend to have more satisfaction for, okay? The classic example is like a piece of pizza. If you're hungrier than hell and you are starving and you got that pizza in front of you, if you can rate that first pizza on a satisfaction level of 1 to 10, it'll probably be 10 because you're hungry. Oh, yeah, you love it. The second piece, okay, well, it's still pretty damn good, but it isn't as good as that first piece. You can even probably apply this to love if you think about it. When you first start dating somebody, well, I'm going to go. But then the more that you progress, God, the more pieces that you eat, your satisfaction's going to diminish with it, okay? In fact, it might even get negative if you're really struggling to try to finish the pizza. So anyway, back to the toilet paper. When you see things like at convenience stores, when they're sold by with one unit, that's typically the highest satisfaction. All you need is one unit. So you're almost willing to pay a higher price up here, okay? So if I want people to buy 20, some people have already bought it at 50, okay? Is somebody going to want to buy another mask, let's say? They're only going to wear one at a time. How are they going to convince you to buy 2? Well, you got to lower the price. If I want to sell you 3, what am I going to have to do? Lower the price even more because you don't have any use for it. Okay, as much as I'd love to say you want to have an extra mask laying around everywhere you go, typically probably most people can just carry one mask with them. All right, so it could be buying by bulk. So what do they got to do in order to entice you to consume more goods? They have to lower the price per unit. Okay, that's when stores like Costco come into play and Sam's Club selling things by bulk. And there you go, the 100 rolls of toilet paper, you better get a damn cheap price on it per unit. I would assume it really is compared to when you buy 1 roll or 2 rolls and 3 rolls or 4 rolls, okay? So what diminishing marginal utility means, in order for you to be able to consume more, the price is going to have to come down to lure you into that. So a lot of business, it's kind of weird. Let's say Dunkin' Donuts. That's the irony of it. They know diminishing marginal utility. They can play dirty tricks on you too as a business. Or Subway with a 6-inch sandwich compared to a 12, or the 6 donuts at Dunkin' Donuts compared to 12. They might charge like $6 for 6 donuts, but then they'll charge you only $2 more, $8 to get 12. Now, who in the hell would get 6 donuts if you really think about it? Well, you have the usefulness for 6 and 12. I don't know, man. I don't know if I necessarily want to overeat. Maybe the donuts might get stale. Who in the hell knows? So they'll give you the 12 for $2 more, okay? So that's the dirty little trick if you see about it. Sometimes it explains why a 2-liter of pop is actually cheaper than a cold 16-ounce pop. Oh, considerably less in size. Who wants to carry around that uncomfortable 2-liter of pop? It gets warm, it gets flat. Well, in order for them to entice you to buy all that pop, they got to lower the price per unit. Okay, so let's repeat cycle here. We know the law of demand, we established that. We know that the demand curve has a downward slope. Yeah, we know a negative or opposite relationship. We know the 3 reasons: income effect, substitution effect, and diminishing marginal utility. We know the income effect means as prices go down, you feel richer, so you buy more. As prices go up along the curve, you buy less because you feel poorer. We know the substitution effect. If your price of whatever you have goes down compared to other competing goods, yeah, you're going to sell more of those because those other knuckleheads kept their prices the same. And it goes the opposite way, too. If you're a fool to raise your price, Don't be in shell shock if you sell less than quantity demanded. And then we know the psychological one of diminishing marginal utility. Your usefulness of things tends to decrease the more that you consume them. So you have no use for them. So the only way that you're going to get enticed to buy it is to what? Get that price lower per unit. Okay. All right. We're good to go. We'll see you next time. And we're going to explain other factors that actually might shift the whole demand curve. And we're away from just the price moving up and down. Talk about fun. Good stuff. See ya.